Hello. I'm out in the studio. I've got my heater on, and I was doing a bit of reading and writing, and I looked up and saw this vase of flowers, this little jug of flowers on the windowsill there, and I began to draw with the pens, and then I thought, why don't I make this a video? So that's why I've got the iPad, the microphone, some paint and water, because as I thought about the video, I thought it would probably be quite good to have more equipment than just the marker pens, but we'll see. I might just do that. I'm kind of feeling like the reason I'm wanting to make this video is because I've not done a video for a few days. I have been drawing. I drew Lake this morning, and she's one of my favourite models. That was really satisfying. But I wanted to do a video because I wanted to remind myself, and I suppose to you as well, that it doesn't have to be any major shakes, that nothing, the earth doesn't need to move with inspiration. You can just pick up a pencil and start, and oftentimes something will come. It's not a big thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. And it's always, it seems to me that it's always satisfying in the end, or, well, that's even setting myself up. I feel like it's just never something I regret, doing a drawing. I might regret giving out to myself about the quality of a drawing or something like that. So that's a little reminder just now to let whatever unfolds unfold in this moment. And here we go. Looks like I'm starting with the pens, and this little pink flowers spilling over the edge of the little blue jug. I suppose starting with the pens is kind of a forgiving way to begin, and then I can I'm drawing a little bit like I was this morning drawing Lake, where I would kind of let my hand make all the mistakes, or really what I suppose I mean is that I would allow my hand to just begin without having a huge plan in advance, and then seeing errors as I go and adjusting them then. And instead of remaining as mistakes or errors, I can't say that word, what happens is that they end up being evidence of the drawing process. They become finding lines, really. And I love to see that in other people's work, actually. Those lines that represent the struggle to find, that represent that deep curiosity that has you looking again and again at an edge, just to find out really what's true here. And it's that level of attention that brings peace as well, I find. That fine-tuning of deep attention. I think it was Muji said, when we're curious we create, when we're desperate we discover. And there's some sort of quality of desperation, I suppose. I suppose he was talking about the spiritual seeking. But it seems that there's some sort of, I think there's a kind of a need to be absolutely committed, and then accept whatever is. Whatever has just happened, every single. You can't even really see that, can you? And still it's really white, isn't it, the page? Alright, now maybe I'll just bring some water over. I've got a hot water bottle on my knee, and I've had the heater on, and I'm actually starting to overheat now. But it's a nice cozy space out here in the garden, and I'm loving having a bit of space. I'm taking Erin to dancing soon, so it's just kind of an hour I've got out here. And what I find is essential for me really is to give myself space within which to just kind of have gather stuff around me that I love, like books that I love, or some food. Like I just had apple tart and ice cream. Got the ice cream from the storehouse. It's from the Isle of Gia, I think, or one of the islands. Anyway, it's nice. But yeah, so surrounding yourself with inspiring things that make your heart sing a little bit seems to me to be a very good way to feed that creative impulse. It's a much better way to feed that, and to actually be, even in the end, productive in other ways too, than writing a to-do list. I got a book by James Clear. I think I've spoken about him before, called Atomic Habits, the book, and I love his advice. He speaks about writing, if you are writing a list, to write I get to, instead of, do this, do that, or I have to do this. I get to cook dinner for the children. I get to cook an inspiring meal. Or I get to go to the post office and post. I could be really sarcastic here now, because I've got a parcel that I meant to post like 2 weeks ago. Still, I've just addressed it today. It's very slowly happening, but each time I write anything about it, I write, I get to post the parcel rather than I have to, and I think it does make a difference. Another thing that I've done that I've found useful is to write lists, or to write everything that needs to be done, and I think this was from The Artist's Way. I want the universe to pay my speeding ticket. I want the universe to arrange, to make the children want to go and be in school and stay in school. I want the universe to, all these things. And actually what I've discovered is, a few months after writing these lists, sometimes I find them, and when I look back over the things that I've written, in actual fact, a lot of them, if not all really, have happened. And not only have they had those things happen, they've occurred through ease. And I mean, I did obviously do things, but it was almost like the energy was there to do them. It was a simple thing. And probably the biggest hurdle of all is maybe not even taking the time to write that down, or to worry, to get into a state of worry and just I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to be like some sort of I've got it all sussed out. It's because these things are such a struggle for me often that I revisit this whole subject again and again of motivation, I guess, because really there are months often, well, not often, but there have been months over this last year, for example, where I've felt deeply unmotivated and deeply concerned about my lack of motivation. So that's why this all kind of is of interest to me, to explore this whole thing. Alright, so I'm being quite safe, aren't I? That's okay though. Right, so there's the purple flower at the top there. That might be quite a nice one. Don't know, where did I put the kitchen paper? That's my hot water bottle there, in case you're wondering if it's my belly. Okay, so here's the kitchen paper, and that lovely colour is what I'm planning on using. Actually, it probably would work for the tips of these flowers too. There's a drop there. Oh, and of course there's this beautiful dark bud over there. I think this is magenta, this colour. Anyway, I forget what I was saying there about the whole list for the universe thing. The biggest thing that prevents it is just over worry, over thinking, I suppose, really, and kind of letting myself run with whatever thoughts happen to be in my head, rather than recognise, as Tara Brach said, that we don't have to believe our thoughts. She's a lovely spiritual teacher, I suppose is what she might call herself, Tara Brach. She speaks very lovingly about compassion and self-compassion. Right, so that's the bud on the left there, and behind that is a kind of a yellowish, I mean, it's in shadow. It was, when I first saw it, the yellow was brightly shining because it was on the windowsill and the light from the window was shining through, making it almost transparent, that yellow colour. Whereas now it's actually more a dullish grey. Not grey. Is that kind of maybe more? I'm thinking a touch of yellow ochre. I should really have the palette here, I suppose. Could I? Nah, you can't. Anyway, you'll see the colour as I put it on. It's a bit of trial and error here, really. Just for those two buds. I feel like it's a bit more like a yellow ochre, maybe. Anyway, that's fine. And now I could probably deepen the tone of that leaf as it, the stem really, as it enters the jug there. It could be a touch darker. And yeah. There. Okay. And I was wondering about that jug. I wonder maybe if I were to... Nah. That's not what I want. I'm thinking maybe the chalk pastels. I always end up cracking them open at some stage, just because their colours are so fantastic. And like, if I want something that's really bright, it's not really that the jug is really turquoise on that side. It's more just that it's really bright in relation to the background, and it's the electric lamp that's shining a light on there, really. So maybe I don't really want to do anything much in that space. I'm going to see how the water behaves with these. Because I don't want it to be too textured there. Yeah, that's doing something. I mean, I don't think soft pastels are meant really to be mixed with water. But hey ho. It's happened. It's happened now. So most of Damien's, like today I went to Damien's studio in Dalray. There were 3 of us in the room, and the rest of the class were on Zoom. So yeah, it was lovely, really. Lovely to see Lake after so long. Lake is originally from Texas, and I've painted her a number of times. I'll maybe see if I could I'll do a little video just showing you the work that I made this morning. The paintings that I did of Lake this morning, no, they were drawings. And I didn't want to take the video in because sometimes it's just as much as I can do to get out of bed and make myself, well, not make myself, but a little bit of that, just kind of eliminating any other options and just move. And if there's something else that means that I'm as James Clear would say, creating friction between me and what I want to do, then I tend to have, there's more of a risk that it won't happen. Like, so if I had started getting together my equipment for the videos, I mightn't have gone at all. And if I didn't go, it would have been pretty hard to bear that, because I had no alternative plan. And I think having made a decision to do something and then not doing it, I find that quite hard to, it's quite a tricky one to come back from that one, you know. Whereas if I just do it, even if it's not hugely inspiring to me, it ends up being better than sitting at home wondering what would have happened if I did go. Something like that. Now I'm mixing ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson together here to create that kind of purplish colour that I'm seeing here. And purple is probably one of those colours that's difficult to really make cleanly, and it might be a better one to just buy pre-mixed. But this purple flowers in shadow here. It's one of the last sweet peas from Daisy's pot. My friend Daisy gave me a pot of flowers, and there were surprises in there. You know, at the start of the summer she brought it over and it's been flowering ever since, different things. And the last delicious surprise was this wonderful, these wonderful sweet peas. My very favourite flowers, really. Just looking for something to read as pink for this. That's chalk now, but I think it's better than, I suppose I could use clean alizarin crimson with no ultramarine blue in it, and that might give the brightness of the colour I'm looking for. And then there's the other purpley colour. It's more blue, really, lavender, but it's very light. So you see what I think I might do there. What would I do? I could use chalk again there, maybe, just to see. There's a drip I don't want to touch because I quite like the drip there. So this sweet pea is interrupting the handle of the jug. Maybe this pen would be the way to go. Almost heaven, West Virginia. I love that song. It's the kind of song that's kept coming up for me the last few months. I think the Pentlands remind me a little bit of Blue Ridge Mountains. I don't know why. I was just talking to my friend Katie the other day, who said that she's just back from a walking holiday in Donegal of the Blue Stack Mountains. I think Blue Stack. It's all about the blue. I was at the Bluebird Cafe this week with my daughter Hope. Hope was modelling for Damien's other workshop, and did some collages of her as she was holding the violin. And she was very musical always, so she's really got a way of modelling as a musician that reads convincingly. So she was doing some guitar and violin. Anyway, she used to work in the Bluebird Cafe, and I remember her talking about the pancakes in the Bluebird Cafe and how good they were. And so I said to her after the modelling that we could go and have lunch there maybe. And so we did. Got takeaway soup and pancakes. That's what I got. And we went to Inverleith Gardens and sat and had our lunch, and it was delicious. So there's another the Bluebird Cafe. Highly recommended. You following me still here? My goodness, 19 minutes. That's not too bad, I suppose. There's a fair bit of rambling going on, I know, in terms of the chat. You know, I don't know how you're fixed about that, but for me it's a very relaxing thing to do, to chat away to you, you know. And at the time I'm chatting, I'm thinking, people don't, you know, sometimes I feel like, you know, really, Anya, you know, why are you saying that? But I think, like, a lot of the time, the stuff that we chat about amongst friends and stuff is pretty insignificant, I guess. but that it's the way we carry on, isn't it? Small stuff. Just, it's all about the small stuff. No, after all my talk about kind of finding and floundering and everything, I've bought those petals further over than they actually are, but I'm kind of feeling okay about that, because I think it looks alright, you know. I don't mind it not being totally accurate. Well, that's telling a lie. There's a little part of me that's a bit bothered that there's nothing overlapping the jug here. But I'm going to try and just bring the top of the jug across that bridge and see. I think that's okay. There we go. So I've been dancing quite a bit. There's dancing outdoors here on Saturday and Sunday in the woods. It's just incredible, actually, dancing amongst the trees, and you know, there's something very healing about that. But the other evening I came back, I did a fairly busy day, and Maisie had no walk at all, and she was kind of wired, like ready for a walk really, but I wasn't. I mean, it was night time and I was tired, and so I ended up instead putting on some music. I say I was tired. It was a different kind of tiredness though, because as soon as the music went on, I was suddenly full of beans. I started dancing around. So Maisie and myself, actually, Erin was just sitting looking at me. I don't know what she was thinking. She wasn't really looking at me. She was just getting on with her own stuff, but now and again she would look up and kind of laugh. But I was wild, like I was really wild. Just turned on any music that I could think of that I love, you know, like the Smiths. Take me out tonight, take me anywhere, I don't care. I think that might be someone else, but you know, those kind of songs that bring me back to my 20s when I would go wild at gigs and things. And that's how Maisie got her exercise. I just ended up dancing with Maisie, and actually I ended up kind of being in charge, because it was quite as my friend would say, it was yang energy. I was in control, which I think is maybe what Maisie needs. Someone to be in control and to tell her no, and to say, you know, just to kind of be in charge, like. So I was dancing around, and anytime she tried to do anything like chase the cats or something, I would get quite clear with her, and she seemed to appreciate it, actually. Anyway, that was the other evening. So aside from it, wasn't all about Maisie either. It was me just having a lot of fun dancing. I'd forgotten how much I really, really love music and moving to music and selecting just what it is that my body wants to move to on this particular occasion. So there was a bit of Dolly Parton. What else? Loads of different things, you know, the way once you get going, like, there's a world of music in there, isn't there? Like the iPad's got Spotify on it, you see, and I got these good speakers. A friend got me really good speakers, and so it's like perfect, really. I want to get those purple sweepies that are there, even although I don't have space to fit all of them in between. There's a really dark purple there, but then the light from the windows catching the top of it, so I'll leave the space for that to be more colourful, I guess. But where it meets the pink flower, it's very dark. So I'm taking Erin to dancing. I need to leave at 4:30ish, and I'll take Maisie, and then we'll go for a walk. While Erin's at dancing, I can go for a walk in the glen in Roslin, and then I'll pick her up. She finishes at around 6. Erin's fantastic, you know. She does dance teaching. She teaches a class of 40 youngsters with one other person, and I've seen her teaching with her dad. She used to teach Taekwondo with her dad, and you know, she's really good. And it's great, she gets paid and everything. And she also does, you know, she goes to her own dance classes too, but tonight is the teaching one as far as I know. Yeah, Wednesday she teaches. Right, so the tabletop now is unappealing. It's an unappealing lunchbox. What'll I do about that? I guess I'm just going to leave it as a greyish colour. What's this now? It's not working at all. I don't really want to use chalk because that would be too clear. What about this? Chalk will be, you know, it's in the background. I want it to be fairly insignificant. And I don't think I want any colour on the wall or on the tabletop really. What I just want is something to show that this jug isn't floating in space. And I'm wondering about the background there. Part of me wants to put something in here, but then I think it would change it fairly significantly. To be honest, no, that grey didn't work very well. There's another grey here. See, I've hardly used this one. There we are. It's a bit better. Stronger colour. And I don't know, is this going to look a bit graphic, you know, but I'm going to do some sort of thing there to give it more of a value. Because I suppose there is a shadow cast by the jug. And what I could do then is just to bring some water to it and hope that it dissolves a little bit. I don't want it hitting the drops. I really like leaving drops suspended in things like the jug there now, like there's a few drops suspended there, and I know that it'll retain that depth of colour, whereas when you lift out the drops, watercolour dries a shade lighter and it ends up maybe not being quite as dynamic as when it's first finished, after the drops dry, after the paint dries I mean. But when there's drops there, it kind of keeps its liveliness, I think. No, really, I want that to be lighter. It's lighter than the background. So I suppose I could put some more I could drop in some more alizarin, or some more of the magenta colour actually, into this you know what that is? It's freesias. I just cut off one freesia, so it's not all sweet peas in this jar here. Some sweet peas and some freesias. Freesias are a nice shape. I've actually got a freesia that was white. I painted in oil a few months back, if you want to have a look for that video. I'm sure there are ways for me to organise my YouTube channel so that it's much easier to find everything. And I should be beginning every video, like my lovely friend Rose said, I should really begin every video by saying, "Hi, it's Anya Devine here." But that would make me feel like I don't really know you, and I feel like I know you somehow. Anyway, what's in a name, eh? You are very welcome if this is your first time watching. And my name is Anya Devine. And I would normally say to have a look at the links below, but I've not put links below for a long time. The last maybe month or so I've just been a bit remiss about the whole digital marketing side of things. But the main thing for me is that I continually turn up for this kind of, you know, the actual practice of making paintings and drawings, and just the practice really of looking, I suppose, and experiencing the joy of things that are living, like flowers and faces and landscapes too. I'll get around to landscapes as well sometime. It's a bit more pink at the front. I'm going to use a pen. I wonder if you can see okay there. I guess you can. Blue Ridge Mountain. Maybe they're Blue Ridge Mountains, are they? I'm saying they're rich. Right. This is quite pleasing here, you know. Nice and cozy. I'm not standing vigorously sculpting things out of an easel. I'm just relaxed and touching the paper fairly lightly here, having a wee chat. There was no plan to do a video, so I feel like this is a kind of a bonus. I was a bit annoyed with myself for not having done my other to-do stuff. When I'm talking about to-do lists, I decided not to do that anymore, and just to have a little meeting with myself and see tonight what I want to do tomorrow, without it being you know, to just actually take one step at a time. That's all we can ever all do anyway, isn't it? One step at a time. I feel like Miranda. Have you ever seen Miranda? I feel like bursting into song. She bursts into song. It's a sitcom, British sitcom, Miranda. If you've not seen it, look her up on YouTube. She bursts into song at inappropriate occasions and won't stop singing until she's got to the end. Like she went for a job interview one time and ended up singing a full Whitney Houston number, I think, on the table. I find it very funny. She looks out at the audience as she's singing, so like she looks at us, and she's occasionally will say things like, "What am I doing? Stop me! Someone stop me!" Yeah, so that I'm saying that because every time I say something and I think of a song I want to sing out. How annoying is that, eh? For the listeners. No. I'm just going to make that a bit more watercolourish there because it's a bit textured for my liking. And there is another sweepy that's extended even further over here. It's really purple. I have probably got purple paint somewhere, but you know, it's more than I can do now to go and find it. So I'm just going to kind of pretend. Will I pretend this is pink? Because I don't want to be making up a purple that's disappointing. Not bright enough, because God, these sweepies deserve the brightness. They deserve to be luminous, showing up in November like this. Yeah. I used to feel like I can't improve on flowers, and almost feel like it stopped me from painting them. Because I felt like if I can't, you know, really do them justice, a bit like seascapes at one point. But then I recognised that it's not representing the thing in more beauty. It's finding the response in myself, and the response to beauty, somebody said, is love. And so from there, to make whatever art comes. And I did do a seascape back home in Cork 2 years ago now. I did a flower painting course, and at lunchtime I went out and painted a bit of the landscape. And my sister-in-law, amazing Odalise from Venezuela, she's lovely. She was attending the workshop, but she came out with me and recorded me painting this seascape on an easel. It was really wild and windy and lovely, and there was no water, but I found you know, I didn't have myself set up really, but there was a puddle in the road, like the potholes, you know, now West Cork, there was a few potholes on the roads there, and I ended up dipping the brush into the puddle and making a real Tate Modern representation of the sea, using the water from the very road to the sea. Anyway, it was fantastic. And then I had plans, like my brother is making easels for me in Cork. Thanks, Oliver. I had plans to do a landscape course this year in Cork, but it's going to be postponed, of course. But it gives me more time to plan, and I suppose it gives me a bit more time to develop even more enthusiasm for the idea, which can't be any harm. It's a bit like, you know, when you have to wait for something, delaying the gratification. and how more deeply it's appreciated then. Alright, I'd say I maybe have, I would say now that maybe I've talked enough and drawn enough. Just trying to straighten this up. Sorry. Yeah, like that's 35 minutes. I'll be heading off to take Erin to dancing soon as well. So that's the painting there. I know it's very dark and grainy in here, but hopefully there's the light is readjusting so that you can see that. And that's the little bunch of beautiful flowers that I was painting. They're gorgeous. Okay, so as always, it was really lovely spending time with you, and I'm aware that what I would do if I was you would be to start the video, speed it up and see what happened, and see a little bit at the end. So if you've done that, thanks for tuning in, and it's been riveting, the conversation throughout. You wouldn't believe the amazing discussion we've had. So now I'm off to drop Erin to dancing, and I'm gonna have a, you know, on the back of that, I feel like I'm gonna have a steady evening. It's been good tuning into that part of myself that finds joy in colour. Okay, enough. I should really go back to the days when I had like 5 minutes of memory on my phone and then there'd be no lingering conversation. Alright, all the very best to all of you. Take care. Bye.